This week on Cruisin'.
Shelby, total Shelby back end, Shelby side scoops, Shelby fog light.
Guess what it's not? A Shelby.
Selling wine, I'm the merchant. There comes the name wine merchant.
Seems logical to me.
So I thought I'd make something fun for mostly the kids.
Kids of all ages can appreciate this.
This was America's favorite milk truck.
I'll take a couple of quarts, please. Plus,
We're here to talk about our Bronco shell.
the Buckeye guys show us their latest edition. How do you feel when you watch Cruisin'?
It makes you smile. It makes everybody smile.
Cruisin' from Boardman, Ohio starts now.
Hi everybody, welcome to Cruisin'. I'm Scott Miller and we're in Boardman, Ohio at Boardman Park for the 37th annual Mahoning Valley Old Car Club Car Show and Flea Market. Now we're not in the market for fleas, but I'm pretty confident we'll find some great cars. Like that one. Let's go check it out. What wine goes well with a 1909 Ford C-Cab?
Any red wine.
Any.
Any red wine.
What gives you a concept for a C-Cab that turns it into what we see today?
Well, I originally was a wine salesman for a local company, and that was my job. As a salesman, we sold beer and wine products. And as a salesman and selling wine, I'm the merchant. There comes the name wine merchant.
Where'd you start?
Well, I always wanted to build a scratch project, and I want to use the concept of the early 1900 cars, but I want a truck. So we were looking through books and magazines, and I come across 1909 Ford C-Cab, and I said, that's what I want to build. So that we drew it out on paper first, and then we scaled it because the original 1909 was not this long.
Yep.
I says, well, I want a larger back compartment so I can carry stuff, or we even went to the point where we put a seat in the back of it for some future date, which would have been my granddaughter. So that's ours is actually a lot longer than an original 1909 Ford as far as the cab extension. I definitely wanted to go with the C as far as the cab design because that's what made the truck. A lot of them, and if you look at some of the early ones, they don't have the C, they cut off here, they're square. I said, no, I said, we're gonna go the route to make the C because that's what makes the truck. So it was just a long process.
From start to finish, how long did it take?
2.5 years the first time. Then we went on a show circuit, and then naturally when you go on the show circuit, you update. Now it's on a stainless steel frame with a big block Chevy in it.
Does it make a little horsepower or is it just enough to keep it moving?
4 1/4.
Tell us about when you decided to build the cab. You chose, I believe it's oak, correct?
Right. All your framing is done in oak, tongue groove flooring, and then it's covered, the sides are covered with exterior grade plywood, and then it's all laminated.
Now, one of the reasons the car's here today is because Taylor decided she needed to prod you a little bit.
Well,
Taylor,
if it wasn't for her and my oldest son, it probably wouldn't be here today because they said, Grandpa, that car is too pretty to leave in the garage. We got to get it back out.
and Taylor, do you ever get to drive it?
Unfortunately, no. Sooner or later, I want to learn, but I'm gonna wait till I get older, probably around maybe 20s, to even bother going behind the steering wheel.
And when she says she's ready, Joe, are you gonna let her drive it?
Not a problem, because it goes to the next generation.
When you did the upholstery, you decided to upholster the roof.
This matches the interior, so whatever's in the interior is on the top. So it was a point getter as far as they know you went the extra mile to produce something that tied in.
Joe and Taylor, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
We have not seen a car this clean, this fantastic looking, and certainly unique for Crosley to see it out on the road. How'd you come about this?
We got interested in Crosleys about 15 years ago. This was our first purchase. And the big things about Crosley, you don't just have one. And when we first started collecting, everybody said, how many do you have? Not what model, which was strange, but now we understand.
Not a very big car, certainly. What's under the hood that makes it go slow?
It is a 26.5 horsepower, 44 cubic inch motor made by Crosley, 4-cylinder. It will probably top out, this car will probably top out at about 50. A few of them go a little faster than that, but it likes 40.
And how often do you take it out on the road?
Not very often, not this one. We have a little 2-seater sports Crosley that we drive a lot. This one's a little harder to handle because you kind of duck when you're looking out the windshield. So,
when you got the car, was there anything that you've done to it? I mean, was it a complete restoration?
it was in certainly bad shape, and we did a lot of work on it. It was a frame-off restoration.
And when you say we, that's you and?
My husband.
And the two of you together did this project?
We did not rebuild the engine and we did not do the chrome plating, but everything else was done at home, in-house, in our shop.
And this is, the brown color doesn't come, this was like a dealer choice on that paint color?
It was. It was not a standard Crosley color, but it was offered by dealers. We know that because we've seen some original flyers that offered a brown Crosley.
Is there anything else that attracts you that says, you know what, I think we need one of those?
There is. It makes you smile. It makes everybody smile. When you're going down the road, everybody waves and smiles.
Are you getting a lot of guff? Because, I mean, we could fit that in the back of DeSoto.
A little bit, but that's part of the fun.
Well, the Mahoning Valley Old Car Club certainly knows how to put on a car show. We're having a great time here in Boardman, Ohio, and there is more to come on Cruise In.
From project to pride and joy, the restoration specialists at Buckeye Classic Car Restoration can make your dreams come true. Our master body, paint, and mechanical technicians have over 100 years of experience. They do research, can communicate every detail of the restoration process, and their restorations win big-time awards. Buckeye Classic Car Restoration cars have been winning awards since 2001. Let the restoration specialists at Buckeye Classic Car Restoration turn your project into an award winner.
Welcome back to Cruise In.
What made you decide to go and just recreate such an iconic Disney Pixar thing?
Well, it started with my daughter. She was in the Ohio Rainbow for Girls. It was kind of her theme that year. And I'm also a car guy, and there's nothing at the car show for kids to relate to. That's, you know, they're all pretty and shiny. So I thought I'd make something fun for mostly the kids.
When you decided to go with the tow mater, you needed the foundation. We got a 56 Chevy.
Yeah, it was an original pickup, but not a dually or anything, just a regular half-ton step side.
So that's all fabricated specific to this?
Yes, I have fabricated it all. It's sitting on a newer Chevy chassis, dually chassis that has been shortened. It's got a fuel-injected LT1 4-speed automatic overdrive. You know, other than that, the boom and all that's all been out of the junkyard, and just pieces and parts found, and that's what I got.
How long have you had it together, and how long has it been out and doing shows?
I built it. It took me 6 months to build, and I finished it last June, and it's been out for a year.
You say you get a chance to bring it out so the kids can see it. Is there any charitable connection?
I have the Mater Foundation, but I associate with Santa's Hideaway Hollow in Middlefield. They do like Christmas in July for terminally ill kids, so everything we raise goes to there. But I go around and do like the buddy walks or anything related to kids, we're welcome to do.
You ever think about if somebody offered you some money, what would you take for it if you part with it?
A 70 Superbird would be about what I'd take for it.
Just a couple of those, right?
No, I'll take one.
Oh, just one, okay. Phoebe, appreciate it very much. The truck looks great. We love the tow mater. Thanks for being on the show today.
Sure, thank you.
What drew you to the California Special? Because we're not in California, you're not from California.
They're different.
Yes. What sets it apart from a normal Mustang?
They have the Shelby, total Shelby back end, Shelby side scoops, Shelby fog lights, and the striping on it is what caught my eye.
Now, when did you get the car, and was it in the same condition that we see it today?
We bought it in 2003, and it was not in this condition. It was all original sheet metal, original paint. It just needed restored.
And you took on that project yourself?
I took the wife and I.
To anybody?
Just the final paint.
Yeah.
My wife and I done it all except for the final paint.
And how many miles were on the car when you got it?
33,000, a little over 33,000 miles on it.
Were you able to trace it back to owners or origin?
Just the person that we bought it from. He said that's, as far as he knows, that was the actual mileage. That's what was on title.
Okay, so when the restoration starts, you say to yourself, we're going to make this look good.
It is in concourse driven class, and I didn't want it to go that way, but it ended up that way.
That's taking it to a whole new level. So I noticed something unique about some of the inspection stamps.
We was at a national show one time, and a national head judge come up to me and wanted to know if I wanted my car stamped. And I didn't know what he was talking about at the time. He says, my dad was an inspector, and he worked at the San Jose assembly plant where this was produced. And he says, San Jose assembly plant did it different. They used the inspector's name on the stamp, and when he got done inspecting it, he stamped his name to it. Every little thing helps.
So the interior, that's been restored along with the car itself.
We had to restore the interior because the headliner was so dry rotted from being out in Arizona all of its life that you could just poke your finger through it. So it had to come off.
Did you upgrade it?
We went by the tag on the door, which tells you what interior was in it. And we went from there and was able to purchase it, and we done reupholstering ourselves.
Given the amount of miles you put on the car, is it comfortable?
It is a lot more comfortable than the regular vinyl.
You do take the car out a lot.
Yes.
You're from Pennsylvania. What's the furthest you've taken it for a show?
We've been to
Springfield, Illinois,
Rhode Island, Massachusetts,
Kentucky,
Alabama. We've been to the 50th anniversary in Charlotte this past year. We go everywhere.
And there isn't a moving pony on the front of the car. Why's that?
No. On the California Special, Ford Motor Company deleted the running pony on the car.
And it was strictly for California Special?
Strictly for California Special.
Is it anywhere else on the car?
The only place you'll find the running pony is on the center of the gas cap, the steering wheel, and the glove box. It's just a small little emblem.
This is a 289, correct?
Correct.
But it still moves, doesn't it?
It can get you into trouble if you let it.
Now, as part of the restoration, did you have to do anything to the engine?
I have never touched the engine. All I've done was detailed it.
Well, I want to thank both of you for taking us out to California via Ohio and Pennsylvania. We appreciate you being on the show.
Sure.
Thank you.
Coming up,
This is a customer car that we have here on display.
the beautiful Mustang completely restored by the Buckeye guys. Next on Cruisin'.
Hi, and welcome back to the Cruising with the Buckeye guys. I got myself and the old man are back again.
That's right, we're here at the Canfield Fairgrounds. They have 3 shows here a year, spring, summer, and fall. This is the summer show. We're here to talk about our Bronco shell that we just brought to the market here within the last, 2 weeks?
Yep.
And it's
sold through Dennis Carpenter Industries.
right out of North Carolina.
Dennis Carpenter is the exclusive supplier of this Bronco tub. It's a 68 to 77. And the Bronco is known for rusting out in its entirety, right?
Correct,
All the ones
yep.
we ever seen are always rusted out. And the demands for a little bit about us at Buckeye here, we developed body shells over the last 4 years. This is our second body shell. We do the 65, 66 fastback Mustang skeleton. The second body shell was the Bronco tub, and the third shell is the 65, 66 Mustang convertible. Also in the works, we have the 67 fastback coming down, and hopefully the F1 cab soon.
Right.
Old man, what else you got on this tub?
Well, this here fixture, this vehicle here was fixtured. It's all made by fixture. We get individual pieces. There is, 48 pieces?
48 pieces in the Bronco.
In a Bronco. They come to us in separate pieces. We spot weld them together. We use industrial spot welders. And they come really, not this color, this is for show purposes only with the red primer. They do come with silver weld through. The only thing you need with this is a motor, transmission, a little bit of body work.
And go driving around.
Go driving around.
Pretty simple to redo, unlike a unibody car.
Right.
All right, let's continue on to our Mustang over there.
This is a customer car that we had here on display. This car was done approximately 4 years ago. The color is Saturn Gold. It is a Mustang color. And this was a total restoration we did for this particular vehicle for the customer. We've had it in our possession for a little bit of time here.
About 3 years now.
About 3 years now. The customer took it out, drove it around, radiator change and the gas recycled on it. We did it. And
we haven't heard from him since.
We haven't heard from him since, so we really don't know where he's at. We do know where he's at. We're just joking around, but someday he's going to come and get the car. So in the meantime, we're just using it as a to show our quality work we do here at Buckeye Classic Car.
And we bring stuff to Dave and Ed's swap meet like this. We're local here to Dave and Ed's, and we bring our work out to the show. It's a good way to get customers. It's a good way to talk to the potential customers we can, hopefully have as clients.
In the future.
It shows what kind of work we do with the paint. It displays the Sickens paint we use that you guys saw in the previous episode that Dan was so gracious to show us what he did.
Coming up on Cruisin'.
I like unique trucks.
Doesn't get more unique than this. Next. Welcome back to Cars in the Park on Cruisin'.
Sean Watson, 1966 Divco. And for those that don't know, Divco stands for
Detroit Industrial Vehicle Company, built in Detroit, Michigan.
We got to throw back to the old school delivery trucks, and you of course have the garb and you're looking and doing the part. What made you decide to do something like this?
I like unique trucks. And what's more unique than the milk truck that your parents, my parents, grandparents, they all remember?
Is there a reference point that you start with? Say, it's got to look like this, it has to be this particular vehicle, or is it something that you pick up the truck and go, you know what, I think I'll do this with it?
A friend of mine had this. He had worked for Isley's and he bought the truck to redo it and never got to it. And he had worked for it. He met his wife. Met his wife at Isley's, and so I decided to make it an Isley's truck in their memory. And Isley's being such a big part of Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania, it was the logical thing.
Were they known for these types of trucks, delivery, the whole kit and
Oh
caboodle?
yes, Youngstown, Ohio, the Klondike Bar was an Isley's staple. And most any dairy used this particular truck, the Divco. This was America's favorite milk truck. And this is the iconic truck, the iconic delivery truck. And I just decided this is what I had to do.
And you had to do it with the props.
Yes.
And from the back of the truck, how do you procure products, the borax and all of those things that represent the era but haven't been destroyed?
Every antique mall, flea market, I just go through but I'm a cheapskate. It's got to cost $10 or less or I won't buy it.
Okay.
And but I still, I got the truck 10 years ago. And when I got the truck, I knew I wanted to do that. I just started anywhere I saw something, I bought it. Now I have enough to fill about 4 trucks. But that's okay, it's neat stuff.
Now, when you did get the truck, what did you need to do to it? It was mechanically, it was good, it was not, some things needed to be fixed?
It hadn't been run since 1992, and it had been serviced just before it was parked and retired. The brakes were brand new in it, but the thing is, they were frozen to the drum because they were so new they hadn't been run in. And so it had to be totally new brake lines, new wheel cylinders, The brake shoes were fine. I had the brake drums turned. And of course, these brake drums are 18 inches in diameter. You just don't take them to the brake shop. They had to go to a specialty shop. But it has, you've got 6,000 pounds of truck and you got to make sure it stops. So everything is brand new and just perfect because you don't want any problems.
What's under the hood?
This has a 170 horsepower, 6-cylinder, inline-6 Ford, the 300 CID. The engine would run, but I wanted all new gaskets in that, so I took the head to a shop to have it cleaned just to make sure it was good and clean. Every exhaust valve was burned out of it from unleaded gas being used in the engine. So it had all new valve seats put in it and hardened valves. And it didn't have to be surfaced. The head was perfectly straight and everything, but I put new push rods and rockers on it. Just, I don't want to have to mess with it ever again.
And if you're going to do something else in the future, what would you do?
Well, just happens to be that a couple months ago I found a 1957 aluminum-bodied Grumman Olson bread truck. So I'm going to do a bread truck, so I'm going to be the man. Dairy products and baked goods, I'm the man.
And you look like you stepped right off a movie set. Thank you very much, Sean.
You're welcome.
Well, from this beautiful 1940 Packard 160 to all the other great cars that we saw today, we want to thank the Mahoning Valley Old Car Club for inviting us and having us here. Also, we want to thank the folks that put the tunes out and keep the mood going, and that is Two's Company Entertainment. I'm Scott Miller. We'll catch you next time on Cruise In.